Good morning, beautiful world. Amazon. Flash briefing.
Jamie, here's your flash briefing. In NPR News. Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Corva Coleman. Mexican officials are still looking for the gunman who attacked 4 Americans last Friday in the northern state of Tamaulipas. They were kidnapped and 2 of the Americans were killed. Mexican officials searched and found the other 2. They've been safely returned to the U.S. NPR's Ada Peralta says the search was aggressive.
It's revealed a sharp contrast. Tamaulipas is a part of the country where mothers have begged the cartels to let them search for their missing children themselves. In Mexico, there are over 100,000 missing people, and most homicides go unsolved. Political analyst Arturo Alvarado says the government pulled out all the stops in this case, and that simply doesn't happen when Mexicans go missing.
NPR's Ada Peralta reporting. The U.S. Senate is expected to vote today on legislation that would block controversial revisions to Washington, D.C.'s criminal code. NPR's Windsor Johnston reports the White House says President Biden would sign the Republican-crafted bill, a move that has outraged some Democrats.
The Senate is moving ahead with the vote, even though the D.C. City Council withdrew its measure on Monday. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says Congress took up legislation to override the revisions, citing an uptick in crime in the nation's capital.
We can't have the craziness and dysfunction of a few local politicians jeopardizing the basic public safety in the federal district that houses our national government.
The D.C. crime bill included provisions that would reduce the maximum penalties for certain violent crimes, such as robberies and carjackings. Many Democrats are expected to vote in support of the federal legislation blocking those revisions, including Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. Windsor Johnston, NPR News, Washington.
The winter storm warning continues in parts of northern and eastern California. Another foot of snow could fall in the mountains. The National Weather Service is warning another atmospheric river is coming and will pour exceptionally heavy rain on the state starting tomorrow. Stocks are treading water this morning as Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell testifies for a second day on Capitol Hill. NPR's Scott Horsley reports the Dow Jones Industrial Average fell about 40 points in early trading.
The Fed chairman takes questions from a House committee this morning. Powell's testimony spooked the stock market yesterday when he told a Senate panel the Fed may have to move faster and push interest rates higher than previously expected in order to curb stubborn inflation. Betting markets now expect the central bank to raise interest rates by half a percentage point at the next policy meeting in 2 weeks. Before Powell spoke yesterday, odds makers were anticipating a smaller quarter-point rate hike. Fed officials will get 2 more key pieces of information before that next rate-setting meeting. A jobs report this Friday showing the strength of the labor market in February and a measure of February's price increases next week. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
You're listening to NPR News. The National Transportation Safety Board says it's launching a special investigation of Railroad Norfolk Southern. The NTSB is going to look at the company's organization and its safety culture. That's because of the number and significance of Norfolk Southern accidents. There have been 5 since December 2021. In the former Soviet Republic of Georgia, police detained more than 60 protesters overnight. Thousands of people were taken to the streets over a draft bill in Parliament. NPR's Charles Maines reports from Moscow.
They want to shut down during the COVID
Russian law.
The churches and the bars and the places that we planned our revolutions.
Crowds swelled outside the parliament in the capital Tbilisi.
They don't want people talking about how corrupt they are.
First reading of a bill that would require NGOs and media with more than 20% funding from
spending
abroad,
more than they make and thieving it
of
with
foreign
interest.
influence. Supporters of the law say the measure promotes transparency. Georgian journalist Mikhail Tvadzabia says the bill channels Soviet-era paranoia.
In Georgia, and especially after our Soviet past, agent is directly associated with spies.
With the bill modeled on Russian legislation, the Kremlin is used to crack down on dissent at home. European officials warn its passage in Georgia could jeopardize the country's already troubled bid for EU membership. Charles Maines, NPR News.
All the Feds do is put their nose in everyone's business. Other countries, everything.
The United Nations is observing it by calling on the Taliban to drop their draconian restrictions on the rights of women and girls in Afghanistan. The United Nations says the policies effectively trap women and girls in their homes.
withhold
Pullman and
federal
News
taxes
in Washington.
and just take care of your own
Sometimes
states,
it is tough to
people
keep up with
at
everything
home.
going on in American politics. The ups, the downs, the ins and outs, the decisions and policies. We get it. At the NPR Politics Podcast, we'll break things down so that you can
What's
make
the point of
meaning
federal
out of all the noise.
to take care
get
of, like,
clarity
the
on what
roads
decisions
and the
are being
whatever.
made and how they matter to you.
No, the states
Every
do that
weekday
too.
on the NPR Politics Podcast.
What have they
Listen
done?
to this podcast sponsor
Like, put
free
their
on
nose in
Amazon
all the
Music
business
with a
overseas.
Prime
What else have they
membership
done?
or any podcast app by subscribing to
That's what they
NPR
do.
News Now Plus at
stick their nose where it doesn't belong.
plus.npr.org. That's plus.npr.org.
In weather. Right now in Seattle, it's 36 degrees Fahrenheit with mostly cloudy skies. Today's
When they're not
forecast
doing
has
that,
clouds with a
they're
chance
coming
of
after you.
showers, with a high of 47 degrees and a low of 34 degrees. That's all for your flash briefing.
That's it? Okay, Amazon. Tell us a joke.
Where do chocolate and peanuts meet up? At the candy bar.
Well, sounds good. All right. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wooden Day. Peace.